Good afternoon, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about just something that's been in the news. You see it a lot in the news from time to time, where there are attacks or people get attacked and their perception is, or they perceive it as coming out of nowhere. And you'll often hear that, like, I didn't see the attack coming, it just came out of nowhere. So the perception is like this attack, it materialises out of thin air and just boom, happens. Look, the reality is very, very rarely is it the case that attacks just happen, that there's no warning to them. It's more a case, more often than not, of a lack of situational awareness, that people have missed the cues and the signs of what's happening around them, pre-attack and pre-threat, pre-attack indicators that they've missed. And so their perception is that an attack has come out of nowhere, just materialises, it happens. The reality is not so much the case. So like I said, what it comes down to generally is a lack of situational awareness. So what you should be looking for, things in the environment. You know, are there people who are looking around? Are they actively vigilant, looking? Are they assessing people? Are they assessing things around them, and why? How do they look? You know, I mean, you should be able to notice threats in the environment. If there's someone who has their head down, hoodies pulled up, for instance, or caps pulled down covering them, hands in kangaroo pockets is a big thing as well. Hunched over like this, and they're just assessing, looking up and down. You know, if they're looking behind them like this, but you know, they're looking for cameras, for witnesses, is a good sign that you know, this is a person you probably want to give a wide berth to. Yeah, a lot of people, they'll be deceptively engaged in phones and life and in their own head. They say miss someone like that, and then that person can tail them and follow them or track them, follow them around a bend, and then boom. And they don't see it coming. It appears to come out of nowhere. The reality is, if you had seen that person and said, listen, that looks like a risk, it looks like a threat, I think instead of going this way, I'm just going to go back, leave that alone. Other things you might want to be looking for in the environment, like is someone intoxicated, drug affected, or are they just acting out of place? So, you know, when you're looking at situational awareness, you're looking at people and places. Yeah, does the person fit into the place? Is there something about the person that's out of place? Their clothing, their dress. For instance, you're sitting at a restaurant or something, and someone, they're tapping, fidgeting, like this, constantly like this, like foot tapping. You know, their hands are up, covering. You know, again, vigilant and. Yeah, are they agitated? Is it out of place? Because again, if you see someone showing signs like that, that's an indication that something is wrong. A lot of people, so people will be showing signs of agitation, tapping, and then boom, they'll hit someone, and it come out of nowhere. The reality is that attack hasn't come out of nowhere. It's just that people have failed to miss the cues and the signs and the indications that something is wrong in the environment. Again, that just comes down to a lack of situational awareness and a lack of reading the environment that you're in and a lack of proper risk assessment and sitting there going, well, the risk there, it appears to be a risk. I don't know this person. I don't know what's happening, but I can see the signs that something is wrong. More times than not, if you can read an environment, read what's happening around you, read people's behaviours and that, and you're not deceptively engaged in phones and things, and your own head, especially. People just, you know, I get it. People are off thinking about life and problems and what they've got to do next and when to pick the kids up from school and whatnot. But, you know, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of who are in your surroundings, and being aware of what's normal and abnormal in those environments and what's happening. What are they doing? And is something abnormal in that environment, like that person's behaviour? More often than not, you'll find attacks don't come out of nowhere. They can be prevented, they can be seen, they can be preempted, and you can avoid them entirely, which really is what realistic self-defense is all about. Ideally, you win 100% of the fights you were never in. Ideally, you weigh up your risk, you're aware of your environments. If you look at your colour codes, you're at least aware. Like, you're not paranoid, you're not actively, hyper vigilant and paranoid, but you're just scanning your environment. You know what's around, you know what's in it, who's in it, what's happening. And this goes a long way to it's the heart of what realistic self-defense is all about. Like I said, you win 100% of the fights you're not in. If you see a risk, if you see a threat, if you see an issue, and you are able to read this and deal with it by walking away without actually ending up in a situation, then the attack doesn't come out of nowhere, and the attack doesn't even materialise, and you've walked away. That's the best outcome you can ask for. That is the best scenario. That means you survive. It means you go home to your loved ones and your family, your cat, your dog, whoever you go home to, whoever you associate with, and you go back in the same condition you left home, unharmed. And that's perfect and ideal. Beyond that, I do understand there are situations where even if you've got situational awareness, you may be stuck on a train between stations or something and unable to leave. In which case, you're going to have to look at different aspects of self-defense and keeping yourself safe. But again, if something was to kick off between two stations and you're unable to leave, that attack or that situation shouldn't come out of nowhere. You should have the situational aware. You should be situationally aware, have the situational awareness about you, and know that something's wrong with the environment, and already be preparing about what you're going to do if it kicks off, where your exits are, how to escape. But it shouldn't catch you by surprise. That all being said, on the very, very, very odd occasion, and I have seen videos and I've worked in mental illness, mental health wards with mental illness. So, look, I do know occasionally attacks do just come out of nowhere. And, there are people out there who are unpredictable, who don't show signs and that. And I have seen videos where just out of nowhere, you're watching what's going on, then boom, they walk past someone, stab them in the heart. Things like that, unfortunately, when it comes to self-defense, is very hard to defend because those are the ones that literally do just sort of, you go, wow, how'd that happen? But that being said, attacks like that are so rare and so few and far between that it very, very, very rarely happens. More often than not, like I said, you'll see someone trying to hide the blade, or they're fidgeting and then they pick something up, or hands behind backs or in their pockets and that. So there's usually an indication that an attack is coming first. Even interviews, the interview which people approach it, they're looking to break your OODA loop and close the distance to get in close to you. So whether that's asking for a smoke or the time or whatever it is. And again, then they'll get in close and bang! Then they'll, wait, give me your wallet, give me this, give me that. Again, people go, oh, just come out of nowhere. He just seemed like he was asking for the time. Okay, but what was his behaviour like asking for the time, where the hood's up and he looks over? And you've got to assess the situation because, like I said, most times things do not come out of nowhere. All right, I think I'll wrap that up with the situational awareness. Just a reminder for people, on Saturday the 24th of September, we are holding our beginners realistic self-defense course, and we'll be covering all kinds of different things. Some of the things we will go into in more depth in this video is situational awareness, the colour codes, how to apply that to life, when you should be applying those colour codes to what situation, and how to assess human behaviour, threats, risk assessment, and going into that in much more detail, as well as looking at things, how to deal with things if situational awareness you've either missed it or you're stuck in a situation where, like I said, say on a tram in movement between stations or whatever, and you can't get away from things and there's an attack or whatever happens. So we'll start to address all of that at the very, very basic level to give people a very good foundation and understanding of realistic self-defense, and to be able to walk away from the workshop with the very basics in situational awareness, understanding their environment and assessing it, and how to deal with a threat should they get stuck in something, so that they can hopefully, ideally, deal with the threat and quickly, efficiently, effectively, and walk away to their loved ones and go home and survive any encounter. Anyway, thank you for watching the, what was that one? Sorry, mate, if you live in Perth, the coward punch is pretty regular. Scott, Stuart, sorry, mate, I will address that straight away. Unfortunately, I don't think it's just Perth. I think, yeah, there's actually games in the US, the sucker punch game, where they film it, and it's like initiations, and it's cool, and it's not cool. People die. The reality is, just addressing that quickly, what kills people actually isn't the punch. You know, so people, oh, I knocked the guy out with a punch, I'm so tough. It's actually not that hard to knock someone out with a punch. So you got, you know, all kinds of nerves that run down here. You got a nice, beautiful, it's like a triangle thing here. And you hit the right spot, and boom. You know, it either hits the nerves or it rattles the head, which knocks the brain about, and it knocks them out. And what actually kills the person isn't the strike. It's usually always what kills them always is when they've got no control because they're out cold and their head hits the pavement or the concrete or whatever it is the head hits, and that's what kills them. It was Danny Green, I believe, the boxer, who, because it used to be called the King Hit, and he said, no, there's nothing king about it. That glorifies it like it's this great thing. It's a coward punch. It's cowardly to blindside someone. You know, hit them out of nowhere. As I've discussed just before, you probably should see it coming. But, yeah, look, it is cowardly. It is a big thing that happens. And, again, the only thing that can really save you is situational awareness, being aware of your environment and seeing that coming first. At least if you know, there's something over here that's dodging, you're just keeping an eye on it. Now, to your periphery at least, or think you see, you can at least cover up, then get to business and do what you got to do to defend yourself. But, yeah, look, it is big, it is bad, and it's just horrible. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about that too in the self-defense course, where we have a thing where it's almost like the coward punch, in the fact that it's a preemptive strike. So you are hitting first. And ideally, if you preemptively hit someone, you want to do it when their guard is down, because you want to be quick, efficient, effective. You know, so again, if someone's attacking you, you might ask them a question. Go, what is it you want? And you might stop the sentence there, and when they're sort of midway, you know, boom, hit them before they even have a chance. You know, you might be feigning to be little, like Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Appear big when you were small, which is what your attacker's doing. They're obviously quite afraid, and so they're appearing big. You want to be appearing small and passive, feigning compliance, and then mid-sentence go, well, what is it I can, boom! You know, which almost is like a coward punch. The difference being, I guess, between preemptive strikes and coward punches is that you're not targeting someone without their awareness per se, like just a stranger out of nowhere for no reason. The preemptive strike really is about you stopping your attacker. So you're already in a situation, and it's about stopping the attacker so that you can get out safely and get to go home to your loved ones. Your intent, like the sucker punch, the intention is to hurt someone and blindsides them, and boom. The preemptive strike, your intention really is just to stop an attack and leave. And that comes very big. It's another subject all within itself, you know, where you, and again, we'll be covering this in the self-defense course, you know, self-defense, use of force, and self-defense law. But certainly, you know, the coward punch it's pretty bad. In fact, I may have to do a video on that as well, a more in-depth video at some time. Thank you for bringing that up, because it is a very bad thing that happens. And yeah, it is something that does came out of nowhere, where people get blindsided and they've missed the environment and what's happening around them in the environment. All right, look, I'm going to leave it at that for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the questions, and thank you for watching. I do appreciate that, and I hope that you found the video informative and helpful. As always, if there's any comments, queries, questions, or anything else, leave them in the comment section, and I will always be happy to answer them. Till next time, please Look after yourselves, look after each other, and stay safe. Thank you for watching.